there's people probably still joining in or just getting everything booted up right now, but I just want to go and get the ball rolling here. Today we're going to go over briefly just on the up-and-coming release of X7. I'm just going to kind of cover what's new on the mill side. I do plan on being able to go and at a later time do other parts of the software, including, you know, the new MT that's going to be coming out, Swiss Expert, some of the different things as far as probing, which I'm going to touch on a little bit today. And then the other thing also is a new tool manager. So today we're just going to kind of focus on the mill side. What I do ask is you guys, if you don't mind, feel free to email us and let us know some different things. If you guys want to know more about high-speed tool pathing, probing, 3D milling, different things that I can go and cover. I know one of the big things that a lot of people seem to like were the tips and tricks. I can show that with the up-and-coming X7 release. Also with, you know, anything as far as the 3D gauge, robot master, or any other add-ins. So, just for you guys to know, I always kind of do this, just a simple little house cleaning. All lines are muted for you guys. If you try to talk to me, I won't be able to hear you. If you can right now, if you can hear me okay, there should be up on the right top of your screen, you should see a little hand. If you can raise your hand, let me know that you can hear me. But if you are having audio issues where I'm not coming in very clear, feel free that you can go and use the telephone. Everyone pretty much got their hands up? All right, excellent, excellent, excellent. If you guys do have questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in, or you can email me. As my co-host today, I've got Matt Sump sitting next to me, Todd's on the other line, Dave Miller's here, Norbert's here, and Jeff is here. So feel free that if you guys have questions, go ahead and type them in or shoot us an email. Any unanswered questions that I don't get to, I'll try to hit you guys back with an email. And just for you know, there will be a copy of this up on our website. If you guys want to download it, review it, hear it again, you guys can always go to our website underneath support and what's new. This will be on there. I'm getting the nod from Matt over here. So just briefly going through, Jeff Angson, he's our president and leader. Me, Todd Rathkamp, he handles all the sales up in Wisconsin. Matt Sumps backs both of us up on the inside, making things happen for us. On the tech support side, Norbert, Dave Miller, Ryan, he's our new application engineer, Scott London, and then Kim covering up the customer service side with all your codes. Feel free, if you guys have any questions at any point in time, you can get a hold of us on our 1888 number. You can also email sales, and if you have tech support stuff, feel free to hit tech@shopwareinc.com. The other thing is we also post a lot of videos and tips up on our website. So feel free to go to our website. You can go there underneath support and be able to get tips on installations. We have custom setup sheets for the new setup sheets and different things on there. Our products, as you guys don't already know, we've got a Mastercam for SolidWorks. Basically, this is fully integrated inside of SolidWorks for milling, and then with X7, we're also releasing our lathe. Obviously, we handle Mastercam milling standalone, multi-axis, port expert, blade expert, Mastercam lathe, Mastercam router, wire, and then also now our Swiss product, which is released. As an add-in in a Mastercam, if you need to do quick inspection, first article inspection, we do have an add-on now where you can buy a whole package, which includes the software, the arm, and everything. If you need more details on that, feel free to shoot us an email. Robot Master is another add-on that's gathered a lot of interest, and we have several customers utilizing it. Basically, this allows us to be able to program these robotic arms offline, being able to optimize and generate G-code for these. Also, you can see here on the screen here, we've got it set up specifically for a welding application. Simcoe, I'm sure a lot of you already know what Simcoe is. Simcoe handles DNC. Basically, you're able to go send and receive programs. This also has another add-on to our Simcoe PDM, which is a light PDM, which allows you to manage a lot of these common files, being drawing files, Mastercam files, setup sheets, pictures and all that. It just helps being able to put all these into one database to be able to quickly find it by typing in the customer's name. You can see the preview I just pulled up here. You can search by project, customer, part number. It's a nice little add-on to be able to handle and be able to manage all these different files. So getting into the nuts and bolts, talking about what's new in X7. There's several different things in here. I couldn't put everything onto here. What I did is I created just 2 quick slides kind of showing some of the new features. Some of these I am going to cover today. The other ones I'm not going to cover necessarily today. We are planning on doing rollouts where I'll get a lot more in depth on going through all the new stuff when X7 is released. Should be released probably April, May timeframe, right in there. But some of the things that are new are the new editor, some new enhancements we've done to our solids, new X-form project improvements. There's the new chamfering with the fillet command, surface filleting. Also, what's pretty exciting is our new and improved backplot and verify utilities. Stock model has been made a lot faster. Same thing with dynamic and OptiRough, better motion, faster regeneration times. One of the new add-ons that are coming out inside of Mastercam that I'm going to kind of show just briefly today is talking about our Renishaw Productivity Plus add-on that you can have for doing machine probing. Some redesigned art filter tolerancing, our new tool manager, which is another standalone that I'm going to talk about today, faster processing, and improved motion into our 2D and 3D tool paths. And a lot of these I am going to cover today, and these are just kind of on the short list. So, talking about the first thing, Mastercam has they revised their editor. The editor, why they revised it was basically a lot of you guys are probably using the Simcoe, or maybe you do use the Mastercam editor. Well, the old one is now being replaced by this one. The nice thing about this editor is it's going to go ahead and support if you need to modify your posts, if you want to look at your NC code, if you're running dual code streams on our new MT product, and it also has a VB editor in there for you can also create your own VBs. One of the things that are kind of new that they've came out with inside the Mastercam software is the ability to be able to edit and modify some solid features. Now these are, basic, but there are some quick things in here, once again, to help streamline as you guys are going in there and needing to modify a solid or, get it prepped for machining. And I'm going to go more into that later too. But just to kind of give you a quick sample of what we can do, basically we can, take away fillets, we can add bosses, pockets. So let me go ahead and jump into a quick sample file. So I'll launch into Mastercam X7. Once again, this is a beta. It's not released yet. It's only a beta. So basically, if I have a part like this, I can go ahead and shade it. And what's nice, too, is this part was created inside of Mastercam, so you can see I've got a complete history of here. Okay? If this part was not made in Mastercam, I would not have this history. So underneath the Solids menu here, and the Solids is an add-on, you have several different items. I'm going to go through a few of these today. But one of the things that's kind of nice, if you want to go ahead and remove the history and make this a dumb block, you can just say, all right, give me a dumb block, and basically it clears off the history. So now I don't have a history anymore. Okay? So let's just say, I did want to go ahead and maybe suppress some fillets in there. If I imported this in from a different CAM or CAD software and I wanted to suppress the fillets. So I can go into Solids, and what I can basically do is say remove solid fillets. Mastercam says, hey, you sure you want to do this? Yes. So I can select all tangency fillets. So if I come over to here, I can click here. You can see it picked up the edge. And I can say, go ahead and just remove those fillets. Mastercam removes the fillets, as you can see. Now, maybe what I want to do is I want to make a quick impression of this to be able to create it for, a pattern or a fixture, or, maybe I want to make an electrode. So what I can actually do is go into Solids, and let's go to Modify Solid Feature. Basically, it says, hey, you sure you want to do this? Yes, I do. So now I can either create a body, remove a body, or remove and create a body. So right now what I can actually do is select these tangency faces. So if I select here, it tries to grab as much as it can. I can select here, select here. You can see I'm just going around picking it, and it's grabbing the tangency faces the best that it can. So in a few seconds here, you can see I've picked everything I want to. We're going to go ahead and create a body. Mastercam creates that body. And then what I can actually do here is simply tell it to hide, and I just want to keep that, and now, as you can see, I've got a quick impression. So maybe I want to go in there and go one step further and maybe modify a radius. So if I go underneath the solids, I can go under there and say modify solid fillets. Yes, and you can tell it not to keep prompting me. And I know I've got a 90 thou radius here. You can see it picks up everything that's tangent to that. There's the 90 thousandths, and maybe what I want to do is make this 60. So for simple, quick edits like this that you might want to make, you can make them quickly and easily with some of the new tools that are inside of the Mastercam X7. So let me close out of this, go back to my wonderful PowerPoint. Another feature that I kind of showed as I was going through there is the ability to be able to create whole axes. So what you can actually do, Dave Miller was the one that kind of really brought this to my attention. It's a kind of a cool feature. A lot of people think, well, hey, why do I have to create that geometry, or why do I need axis lines and all that if I'm just doing basically 2D machining? Well, this comes in very handy because it works with through, blind, split holes on a different plane where I can get that 2D geometry quickly and easily to be able to do maybe 2D functionality where I just want to drill a hole and pick up on that or create that point. If I've got a surface that's kind of a dome shaped, what I want to be able to do is quickly and easily have a round circle that I can pick up for 2D toolpathing. So what I can actually do is click on the sample here, click OK. And basically here I can go in and hit shade. I pulled on a part. And so here I've got a part with some holes coming in at different angles. So what I want to do is create that geometry quickly and easily. So I can go into solids. I can go into whole axis. And basically now what I can do is actually pick on the whole axis that I want to create. So here what I basically did was create that axis line, and I also have that 2D round circle that's there. And even on something more complex, you can see I have a surface here. If I try to create that 2D geometry, I'm going to get a spline or an ellipse. So if I click here, you can see now I'll exit out of this. And if I go and unshade, analyze that, I now have a complete arc that I can easily and quickly pick up on. Let me go on to here. Morning, Jack. All right. Hey, I could have a guest speaker.
I thought it would be 100 people.
All right, so going back to this, next thing I can go through that's been improved in X7 is X-form project improvements. Basically, what this is going to allow you to be able to do is anybody that needs to project 2D geometry down on a surface, a lot of times when you get into small, intricate parts, small lines, the tolerancing sometimes doesn't give you exactly what you want. They've added this into the bottom of here, being able to smooth out some of this. So when I am projecting down small, intricate lines, splines, down onto a surface, I can get a better result, smoother toolpath motion. Like I said earlier, they did go and improve the backplot verify. Verify as you know it come X7 is dead. They've added now this new verify. What's cool about this is the fact that not only is it a separate window, but I can launch it. Basically, I can continue to work inside of Mastercam, do my simulation, everything in a separate window. So if you guys are using dual screens, this will come in very, very handy. Now the backplot, there's a new backplot along with this, but if you want to, you can go back to the old backplot. Personally, I really like the new backplot. The more and more I play around with it, it is very handy, and there's a lot of good information that I can give you. But I'll show you more on this in a minute. The other thing that's brand new coming out in X7 is the probing that's integrated in with the Mastercam X7. It's Renishaw's Productivity Plus. This is an add-on. This is basically be able to go and measure right on the machine, fixture offsets, orientation, critical dimensions, and there would be some post-modification necessary to get this output. What I'll do is I'll give you guys a kind of a quick rundown on this. Once again, if you want to know more about this or would like to see something more on this, shoot us an email. I might even break this off, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to break this off and do another webinar where I'll just kind of focus on utilizing this inside of Mastercam. So let me just pull up a file here. So basically, here is my part. Okay, I've got a part on my screen, and then I also have some of the operations with some probing on there. Now your probing is just going to be underneath your tool path. You're going to have a dialog box called probing here. So your basic main functions that are going to use are going to be right here. Okay, this is for being able to go in and measure a point, measure a line, a circle, a plane, corner, a 3D measure, or doing a web or a pocket, whether it's cavity or core. Those are your main ones in there. So basically what we ended up doing right now is going into here, and the first thing I did was a probe. And the reason why I did this is I wanted to go and basically set up my work offsets. So inside of here, I just basically took a measure of the top to set my Z, and I'm updating that back to my WCS. And then what I did is did a web pocket where I'm coming into here and basically measuring sides of my part. So here I'm coming through, I'm going to measure this side 3 points, measure side 2 with 3 points, and then come back and hit the ends. And then once again, right here, I'm setting up to update my WCS. And this can all be controlled right up in here with these menu options. So once I have that done, I can kick into my new back plot. I'll show you what it looks like. Expand this out, and let's turn on my workpiece. So now you can see I have my workpiece on there. And then if I want to, I can basically come in, still hit the S button. I come in, you can see I just hit the top of my block. I'll come over, I'll hit this side, measuring 3 points, 3 points, and then my ends. So that's the back plot right there. You can also kick right into verify right from here, which I'll show more later on. So we'll close out of this operation. Now the next thing I do here is I come into a facing operation. I'm just doing a typical facing operation. All I want to do is take this and just face off the top of my part. Okay? Now once I do that, I want to go back in and make sure that it's right, that I took off enough stock, I'm not leaving any stock. Once again, I go in with my probing routine, and basically with this, I'm telling it to go ahead and inspect it, measure that plane, and make sure that is correct. If it's not, it will go back in, reference back to the facing operation. Once it goes back in, it will reference back to the second operation, making sure that it is correct. So once I go back and I update those and it makes sure that that number coincides with what it's supposed to be as far as the plane being 0, it will either go and move to the next operation or go back and replay the facing. Okay? So with this one, let me turn on my backplot feature here. Basically what I'm telling it to do now is come in, drill that hole, and then the next thing I create here is a tag, or a label they call it. The label, all it's doing is calling up this bore as something that I want to inspect. I've now went in there, called that hole label 2, and then I'm going to go in there and hit it with a contour pass. So here, if I backplot this, you're going to see I go through, I circle mill this out. Okay? Now what I want to do is I need to make sure that that is correct. And this is where I can really get creative on how I set this up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do a 3-point measurement of that circle. Where the center is, what the diameter is, it's an inside. If you guys have ever used the Productivity Plus, a lot of this stuff looks very familiar to you. And then what I can do is say, all right, if it goes and hits my diameter, move to the next operation. If it doesn't, go back and rerun that operation again. And I can control my work offset based on that. But that's kind of a quick rundown. But let me go ahead and post this out now. So what I'll do is I'll post out the G-code and show the new editor too. Let's overwrite this. Post all, yes. Right now it's going to ask me which Renishaw machine file I want to use. I'm going to just use my Haas macro. Tell it to go ahead and process. It processes everything through. There's no errors. And then I hit done, and now I launch into the new editor, which is called the Code Expert. So here you can see here's a sample of the code, and it has the probing routines already set up into here. And then I get into the heart and soul of the G code. Okay. Back to the PowerPoint. So I just showed you guys the Renishaw. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the new tool manager that's going to first originally on the release of X7 is going to be specifically for the mill side. Then we're going to release it for the lathe side. What's cool about this is, once again, it's its own executable, separate window. It runs off the SQLite format. It's got holder support, assembly, custom tool improvements, and also we can do speeds and feed lookups from the manufacturer, which is pretty nice. But they're going to slowly start integrating all this in there with material, so I can actually pull the speeds and feeds that are recommended from a lot of the major tool manufacturers out there today. So let me go ahead and launch into that really quick. I'm going to exit out of my PowerPoint. I've created a shortcut down at the bottom of my screen. This is the new Mastercam Tool Manager. Once again, the tool manager that you guys were kind of used to inside the Mastercam X6, it's still there. This is its own standalone. What this is going to be able to give you is a lot more flexibility on setting up tools, holders, and doing a complete assembly based off of that. So right now I'm going to open my library, and then I'm going to open up my assembly, my holders, and my cutting tools. And you'll see 3 tabs will get populated across there. So this is just a generic one that I just updated from X6. All I did is took the ISCAR library, updated it from X6, and you can see the different tools as I go through here. What's cool is I can dynamically rotate right into here. If I want to see what the holders look like, I've got holders already set up into here I've been playing around with. Once again, I can dynamically rotate. Notice on the tool side, when I go into here, look at all the different information that I do have over here. So if I click on tools, there's a lot more information that you have available to you for outputting, not only for like a tool crib or some kind of tool management, where you can feed back a lot of different information back and forth, which is going to be nice. The other thing that's kind of nice too is the assemblies in here. So I can call up different assemblies. Now, before, if you were programming an X6, you had your tool and then you had your holder, but you could never kind of save both of those out as one assembly, and then anytime you want to use it, use the tool, the holder, everything in one shot. This is going to be able to give you that compatibility and usefulness to being able to use this. So what I'll do here is I'll just quickly, show you, on a quick note, how to set up a new tool assembly. So what I'm going to do here is just go into create a new assembly. And you'll notice here I've got my assembly down here. There's nothing in here. So I'm going to go to the holder. So the first thing I can do is I can pick a holder. What's cool is it's really easy. It's a drag and drop. So once I drag and drop, there's my holder. I can go to Tools, pick a tool that I want to use. Maybe I'll use the 1/4 incher. And once again, I can just drag and drop that into there. There we go. So now I have my tool and my holder all set up into here. And once again, I can rotate it around any which way I want to. I can modify different features about this, but I can now save this out as a whole assembly inside the Mastercam software to be able to pull up at any point in time. You can even go into here and change your tool projection, how far it's sticking out. I can go to 1 inch. You can see it graphically updates right on my screen. Change it again, go to 2 inches. You can see it can update, so you can have your stick out at different lengths. But it's pretty nice. Once again, I'm going to probably go into more into depth as we get closer to the release. This is something we might do, a quick webinar. If that's something you guys would like to see, make sure you shoot us an email on, how to set this all up and get into there and set up all the different tools inside of there. Let me go from the beginning. Let me jump back into here. I hit the wrong button. Another thing that's kind of nice too, as I was talking about before, is once you do these assemblies, when I go into Mastercam, I can actually tell it to just bring in the tools, bring in the assemblies, or bring in both. That way I can verify and be able to see everything that's inside of there. If you guys are doing custom tool, they did make a nice improvement. If I've got to share files with somebody else, a lot of times I'll have my own library that I'll set up with my different custom tools. and if I don't send my library along with that file that they want to go and view, I'll get an error saying it couldn't find that custom tool unless you embed it in the file, which is, you can manually do now. Basically what you have to do is you bring in that geometry, you can put it on a different level, and then that's saved with that file. But that's just say I did draw it up, or better yet, I'm importing that profile in from the tool manufacturer. I can tell it to go ahead with this new button and say export that profile right into this file that I have open on a level that I dictate which level to go on to. Getting into some of the new things they've done with the 2D milling, they've added multi-threading support to all the 2D HST tool paths. What that's going to really mean for you is faster calculation times. They've actually sped up everything across the X7 platform. Anything from 2D to 3D, lathe, all the calculation times seem to make a huge improvement. Another thing that they've kind of enhanced is the peel mill, which has become a pretty popular HST tool path. They've added the dynamic motion inside the peel mill. As you can see here on the left side of the screen, this was the old peel mill that you used to have. You just had a specified loop. Well, now we can get that dynamic shape inside there with the peel mill. Blend, they've made improvements to blend. We now allow the finished passes as an option. So if you want to go in there and make one finished pass on the walls, you can. Synchronize chaining, what this will allow you to do is just get better results on the toolpath that you'd want. As you can see on the right side of the screen over here, this was the old way. With the new way of being able to synchronize the chain, basically it looks at each side of each chain. You basically will have two chains. It will look at and try to sync out the toolpath to give you a better result in the end. They've also added the ability to be able to extend the entry and exit on each one of those toolpaths. That way I can get the tool to overhang more or less based on the stock that I have. On the 3D side, they've actually added optimization inside the hybrid. Hybrid is a great toolpath if you guys never have played around with it. It's become one of my favorites just because of the fact that it combines two of the most common toolpaths that I used to use, which would include waterline and also a scallop cut. Basically, this will cut both of them for you. They've added the ability to be able to optimize that cut order. Basically, what this is going to do is reduce that unnecessary motion and then shorten the actual length of your toolpath. On the hybrid side, they've added the ability to how we handle open and closed passes, whether I want to go one way or zigzag, especially on those open profiles that I have there. This will once again allow you to be able to go and process those toolpaths much more efficiently and shorten that time on how long that toolpath actually is. On the hybrid side, they also added the ability to be able to have automatic offsets. That's been better. That way I can blend between those steep and shallow areas, how I transition. So instead of once I hit that 45 degree where I want to go into like a waterline path, what I can actually do is have a better blend where they overlap. That way I don't leave any excess stock sticking up, whether it would be like left over from the scallop or from a ball end mill. The other thing that's really nice is as I approach those boundaries, if I do have a boundary, they've really made an enhancement on being able to smooth that out. The other thing which I thought was pretty interesting is how they were able to make faster calculation times. They've got smart regeneration. What this really does is it only recalculates the areas that have changed. So if I had a big block and I only changed like one little section, but I was looking at everything or toolpath and everything, it's only going to recalculate the areas that have changed. They added also the ability to be able to add in toolpath fillet right in the HST toolpath. This will allow you to generate smoother toolpath motion at a high feed rate. So as you can see here, if I'm trying to run a high feed over this block, you can see on this side it does not have the fillet turned on. And as I come down to here, I'm going to have to slow down as I come down, where with an arc, I can go much, much faster. That can be activated underneath the arc filtering, underneath toolpath fillet, and then here's what it would look like. Underneath the OptiCore and OptiArea toolpaths, once again, they've added some things into there, not only the smart regeneration, where we can go and look at previous model, and only go and regenerate that area. but they also added the ability to be able to optimize the cut orders, which are nice too. Let me just kind of jump into that. So here I have a part. Here's my shaded part. So if I want to, I could go into the parameters here, and I'll show you where they made that change in. Right here, you just used to have optimized cut order, but now I've got a couple of different things I can do here. I can optimize based on the pocket, based on the depth, or based on the closest. Okay? And if you go into the help here, there is a section here where you can go in and see the differences underneath optimized cut order. Basically, by depth, Mastercam will machine all the Z passes by Z level. So as it works down, it's going to always want to jump back and forth based on Z level. Next closest moves to the next closest cut where it finishes the previous cut. And then by pocket depth, you can see it's going to try to finish that depth before it goes and jumps to the next pocket. So you've got some choice in how you want to optimize out based on the geometry, whether you're doing a core or a cavity. So I can kind of show you here. We can kick into this. And let me turn on my work here, and we can step through this. Now what's also nice too is if I want to, and I want to see this, I can always kick right to verify without having to exit this, and I can run it right through verify here. So I don't ever have to jump out of backplot, go into verify, or vice versa. I can just come back here and click on verify or backplot, which I think is pretty nice. And then you have some other commands here, which I'll get into all later on a different webinar. So one of the last toolpaths I'm going to kind of talk about that are kind of new is they've added the ability to be able to project your toolpath with the new HST style type toolpaths. Before, you could only do contour, or I'm sorry, I take that back. You could do pocket. I can't remember the other one off the top of my head now. Basically now we can go and project geometry down or previous toolpath onto a 3D surface. Most commonly people use this to either plunge out areas, they'll pick a point and then project those points down on the surface and be able to drill out those areas, or they'll use it to be able to do engraving. And I'll just show you the difference quickly on how this works. So basically, this was the old way, and the real difference in the toolpath, I'll show you here. This is the old way where I basically went in there and I'm just taking a finished project and projecting my toolpath down to engrave this. But if you look at the high speed way, now you can see I've got nice transitions on and off my model where I'm not going to see that tool coming down, plunging directly down in there. I can control these nice transitions of arc on and arc off. And it's pretty easy to use. You'll see that if I go into Toolpaths and I go into my high speed, you can see project has been added to one of the finishes. I can just click on project. Mastercam prompts me for what surface do I want to use, so I'll click on this surface right here. That's the surface I want to use. And then if I go to a top view here, we can go to my curves. I'll go to a top view and shade it, and then I can put a window around what I want to go and project down. Enter the search point. I've got my geometry. And now I can tell it, hey, what tool do I want to use? Do I want to bring in a holder? What my cut parameters? We are using curves. We can use points, or I can look at that previous operation, maybe a 2D operation, and project that down to it too. And then just click generate, and then I will have my operation. So I know Matt had a couple of polling questions that he wanted to run. Matt, you ready for that?
Sure.
So Matt's just going to, throw up a couple of polling questions here. So if you guys don't mind, just take a quick second. So unfortunately, I can't vote. We got enough? What was the other one you wanted to run?
The other one was, you can ask the other ones at the end.
Okay. One of the other things that I found a lot of companies asking me about is, when they do, there are some nice enhancements in the X7, no doubt about it, especially with being able to modify the solids. But I've ran into a lot of customers that, they already have maybe SolidWorks, Solid Edge, Pro E. They're looking for different ways to be able to quickly make, fix bad geometry. A lot of times you import it in. I'm sure a lot of you guys maybe run into a scenario where you've got a missing surface or a bad solid, and it can take a long time to be able to make these quick fixes to the model if you don't have the ability to be able to run into SolidWorks, Solid Edge, or Inventor, or it just might take a long time just to do on those different products. Or the other scenario that we run into is customers that are looking to quickly create fixtures. I happen to run across a product that a lot of our customers are utilizing, which is SpaceClaim, and I have Roman here. Roman, you there? No, he's out there somewhere.
Yes, I am here. I just need to unmute myself. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. So this is Roman from SpaceClaim, and what I wanted him to do is just kind of give you guys a quick rundown on some of the advantages of SpaceClaim that some of our customers have taken advantage of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Roman the presenter.
Yeah, and based on, there's a lot of things that people are using SpaceClaim for in conjunction with manufacturing. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up my screen right now. Can you see SpaceClaim? Just want to double check.
Yep.
Perfect. So what people are using for, and it's a tool not to replace the design tools that companies have like SolidWorks or Pro E, but to be that tool that's really geared towards manufacturing and manufacturing prep. So what we do, which is really unique, is we'll go in and take IGES files, SolidWorks files, Parasolid files, and then you bring them into SpaceClaim and work with them. Because let's say you open up an IGES file in Mastercam and there's faces missing, it needs repair work, someone added rounds that don't fit the tool that you'd like to use. SpaceClaim is a toolkit that can fix those issues and prep the geometry. So I'm opening up an IGES file of a landing gear model to show you how we can work with it, clean it up, build a fixture for it, and get it ready for manufacturing. So first of all, one thing that you'll see is that instead of having a watertight solid, just a collection of surfaces that are there in the model. SpaceClaim's repair capabilities are automated so that if you want to bring several surfaces together into one, do it. Repair this model, fix it, and clean it. If there's faces that are entirely missing from a model, you can't make Toolpath on it. SpaceClaim will patch a face in so you can make a Toolpath there, and so you can turn this into a watertight solid. And we have additional tools to help repair models, such as get rid of extra edges, which may be getting in the way from a nice flow path or a nice tool path there on the part or model. And you can always click and fix and clean your model very quickly. But more importantly than just cleaning a model, SpaceClaim has great tools. If you need to take it, edit apart, you can do so. We've made tools that are simple to use, simple to use, so you can get in and make changes you might need to make to a model. If you need to change the size of a round to make them larger, make them smaller, SpaceClaim can do that. Even going through and finding all the rounds that are on the part, with one click, we can change their size. And it is a precise change you're making to the geometry, which is really nice because if you need to prep a part, if you need to simplify the design to get rid of features that are going to be made in a later milling process, SpaceClaim can pull them to make them larger or smaller, or we can fill in pockets that are there. So a great way to turn this into a clean surface for cutting. Or even if you're going to have mill this end part of the model off, SpaceClaim can take this and clean this up as well. So just selecting the faces that are on the model that we want to get rid of and filling them in to remove them. So prepping the design, getting it ready, and removing the geometry that you don't need from the model when you're making a fixture for it. And speaking of fixtures, this is the neat thing about SpaceLine. Not only do we edit geometry, but if I wanted to make a fixture, make some soft draws or something to hold the part, it has that tool. It's tools that are built for a manufacturing engineer to make designs, tweak designs, and edit them on the fly. So without having to know about the geometry coming in, we can sketch, create, and make a model. And the best part about this is as we change the model or change the design, it's just pull. That same tool that I use to edit the incoming part is the same tool that I would use to create geometry. Pull it to make it larger or smaller. If I know the exact size that I want to make, whether it's 100 millimeters, 200 millimeters, 5 inches, I can type that change in, make it on the fly. And for us, if I want to use this stock and cut away to make our fixture, it's as simple as saying I want to cut one model with the other. So again, it's simple tools that we've built for the manufacturing engineer to make Toolpath easier. Because what we've talked to a lot of customers that are out there, and no one really makes money from working and fiddling around with geometry. You make money cutting parts that's there. So having easy tools to take, manipulate, change, and model is great. Having tools that let us take a design that's there, and if we want to make an offset faces, machine a nominal tolerance, let's do that. Offset faces inward or outward. Offset them backward slightly so it fits better into the model. And whether you're offsetting a few surfaces, whether you're offsetting a bunch of surfaces at the same time, it's again tools that we've designed for the manufacturer. So you can make, change, and modify a part before you actually get in there and need to make the change. And after you make fixtures, after you make a part, after you change the model, all of this can be sent directly into Mastercam through an integration through C-hooks. So again, it's a lot of tools that we've made and tried to build to use and change the model. I mean, even taking something as simple as taking an aerospace part which might not be designed or placed at the origin and being able to, first of all, move a part around a design or a model to change its location, or simply put in our own local origin that's there on a part or on a model and taking that and replacing it with the other one. So great ways to snap, change, manipulate a part without ever having to know how a designer built it, what needs to be changed, or why they did certain things. You're able to take in geometry in 3D or in 2D from a lot other sources with SpaceClaim. And you don't have to build geometry from scratch every time someone sends you a corrupt model that needs to be repaired, or someone sends you a 2D print that needs to be in 3D. Is there anything else that you think I should be showing, Chris? This is just kind of a little intro that I thought would be a good overview of SpaceClaim and how we work to help prep geometry for manufacturing.
No, I think that's excellent.
Great.
Actually, if you have that one file that we ran into where we did the bubble gum, where we had the open areas, show that one really quick, because that's the one that blew me away. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. And so that's the really neat thing about SpaceClaim, is that we're able to take these and do a lot of repair work. I have another model that I can use for this and show it. It's a slightly different model, but this kind of shows, I guess, the power of how SpaceClaim can repair a model for manufacturing and also work with large assemblies. So I don't know if you ever get sent large assemblies, need to pick out parts or pieces for machining that's there, but SpaceClaim will take geometry that's there. I mean, this large assembly we could take and we can machine by picking out individual pieces. You can quickly hide others, take these out and isolate them for machining very quickly. So you can copy them to a new design, easily isolate them in a model. But if I want to show some heavy-duty repair work, I want to go ahead and find all of these surface bodies which aren't watertight solids. So, I mean, with SpaceClaim, I mean, I see sometimes a lot of really crummy parts and really crummy models that are there. So, for instance, in this model that's there, if I locate it in the structure tree, again, a lot of surfaces that are there on the body, but on top of that, you see some surfaces that are just, I don't even know the right word to describe these crummy faces. But SpaceClaim will let you take this, and again, what Stitch does, it says, hey, if these are different parts of the model or different bodies or surface bodies that are there, to help make this a watertight solid, we'll go ahead and stitch all these surfaces together into one. And we have a lot of simple tools to help you work with it and change it and manipulate it on the part. So for instance, I mean, if there's faces that, again, are folded up on itself, really crazy looking, SpaceLine will take that and repair those on the fly. I mean, we can just flat out delete bad faces on the part, and now we can use that to clean up the model. So if I want to take this and clean up a model or a part that's there, I can have a SpaceClaim start to do that really quickly. So I can take edges that are there, and I can go through and start to remove them on the part and fill them in. So starting to get rid of some of these crummy edges that are there, start to fill them in and remove them on the model. Or to us, I mean, this is just geometry. If I wanted to cut a face up on the part and split it up to get rid of it, this is what SpaceClaim allows you to do. Cut it up, delete a bad part of the model, and use our automated repair tools to find, again, missing faces, repair them, patch them into the part, and now we have a nice solid. Now we can easily take and create rounds on the part that are there so we can actually fit our machine tool into it and start prepping this for manufacturing.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And this is what I like, because, I mean, you can take edges, take rounds, snap them up to an adjacent face or an equal one to make sure they're all the same size. So you don't have to remember and type it in every time. You can just snap it up to that value to make a change or modification on the part. Because these are the types of changes. I mean, a lot of times designers don't think about why rounds are in a part or what they need to do. And so this lets you kind of be a value add to your customers and solve their problems without having to always request them to make the changes that are there when they don't even know what they're changing or why they're changing it. So it kind of gives you the power to get in there and help kind of speed up the entire process.
Well, cool. Thanks, Roman. I really appreciate you, showing our customers this. And if you guys would like more information, feel free to email us. And I'll probably be doing another webinar just on SpaceClaim too. But if you guys want more information or interested in seeing more about the SpaceClaim, feel free to shoot us an email. Or make me back as presenter. Thanks, Roman.
No problem.
All right, let me pop myself back into here real quick. All right, so that takes us to about as long as I want to do a presentation today. I just want to thank everybody for coming and showing up. I'm going to be doing more presentations and webinars coming up on March 5th, is it, Matt?
Yes.
March 5th, which is a Tuesday. I'm going to start showing the new MT product that's going to be released. And then I think we've got another one scheduled in April, May. I think once a month I'm going to be doing little blips on this. But feel free that if you guys have any questions. What was it? Oh, wait, Matt's got quick 2 polls. Go ahead, Matt.
First one is what topics we're interested in today.
So Matt just shot up a poll. This really gives me good feedback, guys. Once again, if you are interested in seeing something that's not on this list, please shoot me with an email. But if you guys can answer this helps out. Absolutely.
send us questions here and we'll write them down.
Yeah, and you guys can go and either email us or send questions through the little chat box there, and if I don't get back to them today, I'll shoot you back an email with it.
Scott, anyone asks if you can watch this again, it'll be on our website in the news section. What's new? The webinar will be available to view offline on YouTube on our What's New, our blog page, our website later this afternoon.
Do you have another poll? One more poll, and then
How can we better serve you?
the million-dollar question. So how can we better serve you guys? And I'm always interested in hearing from you guys as far as anything that you guys would like to see, whether it's these webinars or whether you guys like us to do something out at a facility and have you guys come in, do face-to-face. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. I want to thank you and all my sponsors for helping us out today. Thanks, Roman, for a great job. And then if you guys do have questions, please, please, please email us. And then I will see you guys back here in 1 month for our MT product. You guys take care, be safe, and talk to you soon.